ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono o Hawaii and breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man! Welcome everybody, day 2. Breakfast with Bob, St. George edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spa Zions Bank, Quintana Roo, Forum Smart Swim Goggles, Clash Endurance, Premium Plus Sports, and of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Mr. Matt Trautman. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm good, Bob. Thanks for having me here.
I remember chatting with Brett Sutton a number of years ago, and he was telling me back in, 2017, you were training for 70.3 South Africa, hit by a car and ended up back surgery. And at that point, how long had you been in the sport?
Yeah, so at that stage, I turned pro in 2014, but hadn't been in the sport long before that. I think my first race was in 2012, and then did Kona as an age grouper, and then was second in my age group there, and then decided to turn pro the next year.
Yeah.
So, a few years in the sport. I mean, I'd had a few injuries before that one.
What other injuries? Yeah.
Broken collarbone from a crash, training with Brett in the Alps there, and a stress fracture in the ankle. So it was a bit of a
little pattern.
A bit of a rocky start to the pro career for sure. But that was a big one in 2017. That took a while to get over.
I was going to say, how long did it take, and what were the injuries?
Yeah, so I got hit from behind at
the car just ran you over, like you weren't
pretty much
there.
Yeah.
Did they stay?
They did. Old lady, I think she just didn't see me. I was in the yellow shoulder, and I think she might have just moved over to let another car past or something, and just went straight into me. So 2 crushed vertebrae, and the ligaments in between the vertebrae had torn. So it was pretty unstable. It was actually got away quite lightly in hindsight, because it was pretty close to the spinal cord. So you could have been a lot worse for sure. But they had to do a spinal fusion. So between 3 vertebrae, they just put some like titanium rods in there, which that in itself isn't too much of an issue because it's in the middle of the back. So
rather it doesn't affect your turning neck.
There's not too much flexion and on the back I can still sort of get in a decent position. It's more the load because the discs aren't doing their like shock absorption job anymore. So place a lot of load on the lower back, so I've had to adjust a bit since then.
When you have something like that happen, you sometimes it sort of changes your whole philosophy of life. You're like, one, I'm lucky to be alive. 2, I'm traveling the world doing this silly sport, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
How did it change you?
I mean, initially my mindset was I'll be happy if I can just run again. Like I wasn't thinking about competing or
the pro
being
thing
a
was
professional.
done. That was gone.
The surgeon was like, "Dude, there's no way."
Wow, really?
He had done quite a few ops on rugby players there in South Africa, and he's like, "Look, the guys don't get back to playing. I mean, it's obviously triathlon isn't a contact sport, but." He was worried about the running and the amount of load that was going to be placed on the back. But the body adjusts. It was a good year I raced 70.3 South Africa in 2018, so that was 1 year pretty much since the accident. But to fully get over it was a couple of years.
I bet. Now, before that, so you raced high performance yachts for a living for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you were the first South African to complete the mini
transit.
Mini transit 650. That's 650K.
No. So that's actually the size of the boat. It's 6.5 meters.
Oh, 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's a solo transatlantic crossing.
Yeah. So it's a small boat, 21 foot, I think it is.
21 feet across the Atlantic. You're sailing.
Yeah, and these boats they're full on. They got like huge sail plan and they go really quick. So you got to be. So
you're racing. You're not just doing this as a solo journey.
It's mostly French competitors. It starts in France, and the French are crazy about their single-handed sailing. So this is like a stepping stone into the Vendée Globe, which is the round the world single-handed stuff, which was sort of the goal at the time, but yeah, it was a challenge on its own. And I mean, the boats, like I was saying, they're so powerful, and you got so little, you haven't got a lot of battery power, so like your autopilot doesn't work that well. So you spend a lot of time hand steering, and you can be up for
and it's
a
just
day
you
at a time. It's
solo.
It's just
so it's
you.
you. So you're up for basically 20 for how many days?
So you went La Rochelle to Madeira, that's 7 days, and then when the last guy gets in, you've got 24 hours till the restart. Madeira to Salvador, that was about 3 weeks across the doldrums.
On your own.
Yeah.
What was the toughest part of that? I mean, was there points where you fell asleep? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, you managing your sleep is a big thing. You got a really loud alarm that, like, if you're going to go down, I mean, there's no space like down below. You have to sleep sitting up.
Right.
So you just have like one of these airline neck pillows and set the alarm for 20 minutes, and 20 minutes goes off, and so you just have these like little power naps, and then you can, if it's pretty like calm conditions, you can then just go back down again. But managing your sleep, managing the boat, you got to just stay mentally alert.
What was the scariest moment out there?
I had some. There were some big downwind conditions at the start, and it's called a broach when the boat like spins out. I had that a couple of times because you're just like, pushing hard off the start. It's more just being worried about breaking anything, because if you rip a sail or break anything on the boat, then
you're screwed.
You're out there on your own.
Yeah. Okay, so then you find triathlon.
Yep.
And what got you into it?
Yeah, so I was based in the UK at the time, and that was 2012. I'd finished the mini Transat, that was in 2010, and it was the Olympics.
I was going to say, the Brownlee brothers,
exactly.
Pictures of them everywhere in the city.
100%. So it was obviously a big deal in the UK, a big deal around the world, and that sort of like sparked my interest, and there was a lot of race options there in the UK, and sort of looking for a new challenge, so signed up.
Rather than being in the middle of the ocean, the dark with big fish around.
So signed up for a race there, and one thing led to another, and I just sort of kept going. I really enjoyed it, and found some success. And
so that was 2012.
Yeah.
So first Ironman South Africa, 2012. You won your age group.
2013. That was my first Ironman.
Okay. Yeah. And then Kona, was that?
Kona the same year.
And you got second in your age group.
Second in my age group, and then it was sort of, do I go back to sailing? Do I find an actual job?
No, you don't want a real job. That's a lot. We want that.
Give it a go as a pro for a year. Yeah. So I joined Brett that next year. Trained with the squad for a few months there in Samaritz, and then won Ironman Wales.
In 2014, you won Ironman Wales, so that changes everything.
Exactly.
So now some sponsors coming on board and things like that.
Yeah, and it sort of then gave me the belief that I could make a go of it as a profession.
Well, then you get injured in 17, a horrific injury, but in 18 you win 70.3 South Africa and Wales for the second time.
Yeah, so that 70.3 South Africa, that was a big one for me. That it was the 1 year after the accident.
And they told you you'll never run again.
Exactly, and I mean it wasn't comfortable before that. I was had some sciatic issues from the fusion, just like I was saying, placing load on the lower back. So some of the discs were bulging a bit, and it was more just I'd built it up so much in my mind that this was my comeback race, and I was going to do it, hell or high water. So I got it done. That was a memorable one for sure.
I look at when people when you talk about this course with 7,000 feet of climbing on the bike and 1,500 feet of climbing on the run. I look at Lanzarote, I look at Wales. People who've done those well at those type of races are suited for this course, don't you think? Yeah,
I hope so. It's I've always done well on the tougher courses, and 70.3 South Africa. That's a hilly one as well. It's a hilly run, and I've managed to win that 5 times. I think the hilly courses suit me. It's not. I mean, it's never fun at the time, of course, but. I'd say I'm a strength athlete, and that's
and this is a strength course
for sure.
Especially, it looks like the forecast is for a little bit of wind on Saturday.
wind, and yeah, it'll be hot. I think 90 Fahrenheit. I think
You're
I
from
saw.
South Africa. Come on, what's
Yeah.
that? That's nothing.
But yeah, I actually went down to Sand Hollow this morning, and
Was it windy?
it was supposed to. I was going to do the practice swim, and they canned it because it's too windy.
The thing with a lake, when you get wind, it is huge. People don't realize that when it's a shallow lake and you get wind, it is worse than the ocean because it's totally unpredictable waves.
Yeah, it was pretty choppy, and just driving back around, it was like, it was breezy out there.
It was
hurricane,
breezy out
they
there.
call it that area.
So 2019, you win Challenge Almere, and that was the European Championships, and you break the course record.
Yep, that was a good one. I think Christian, 2020, he then went and broke it again. But I actually raced him there in 2019. We had a good battle there, so yeah, that's a good vibe on that course.
And in this year, third at Ironman South Africa, this was short and swim, and 2021 was seventh Ironman Austria. But I look at the times at Austria, it's like, even though you're a guy who does really well in these tough races, you obviously have speed because 48.54, 427.37, 243.48, 806. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, like Ironman Austria definitely wasn't my best race. I had some issues with my knees before and a lot afterwards because I did 70.3 South Africa. That was 2 weeks before. And the build-up, the 2 weeks between that were just horrible, and so it was a race. So I'd rather forget. But that's
a fast course. But then you were third at Ironman Lanzarote, and again, that's a brutal course. It's one of those few places I've seen where even when you're climbing, the wind is in your face. Right? It doesn't matter. The wind is in your face no matter which direction you're going. It's crazy.
That is a windy course.
There's no vegetation, right? There's no place to hide.
Yeah, no, you're very exposed. That's I'd say Wales and Lanzarote, if there's going to be tougher courses, then those are probably them.
Yeah, exactly. And 51.26, 459.38, 246 after that really brutal bike ride. 8:42 is a hell of a time on that course. So
thanks.
No, it really you're set up well for this course. Have you ridden a lot on the course? How long have you been in town?
I got here last week Tuesday.
Okay.
So I've had some time. I've pretty much seen all of the bike course.
Okay.
And it's rolling a lot of the time. I mean, there's a lot of fast, like flatter, gradual descents.
Right.
And then you get the little
climbs,
kickers every now and then. It's going to be, I think, coming out of Sand Hollow at the start, like you get straight into the climbing, so it's going to be, I think it's going to be full on there. Guys are going to be going hard, trying to break things up.
We'll see who's left by the time they get to Snow Canyon at mile 100.
Exactly.
That last 10 miles is going to be pretty interesting.
There are going to be some big blow-ups. That's
totally.
That's for sure. Just got to make sure it's not me.
Exactly. Well, it's a world championship, right? We got the finish line is right behind us. So on Saturday, you'll find out where you stand right now.
Let's see. I mean, it's like I say, I think the course suits me, so gonna give it my best shot as you do.
You could still be out in the middle of the ocean somewhere, right? In a little boat, wondering, I'm 1,000 miles from shore. What do I do now?
Yeah, exactly.
How did you determine how much food did you bring on that?
You take freeze-dried food, so you just
it's lighter.
It's lighter, and you can just boil a little bit of water, chuck it in there, and you pretty much eat that breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh my God, that sounds so brutal. Matt, thanks so much for taking time.
Thanks, Bob.
Matt Trautman has been our guest. Poncho Man, take us out.
Hawaii and breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man.
Oh, this Hawaiian sailing on the ocean on one small boat. Rah.
With the captain.
Cool story.
The captain and Poncho. So
you
like
needed
Captain
pack
and
a
Tennille,
poi,
but a little different. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We got more. Stay tuned.
Cool story.